All right, in this video, we're going to talk about long division and synthetic division to divide polynomials. So first, let's review long division with numbers because the process is going to be the same for polynomials. So let's say that we have something like 2 into 584. Okay, so remember the long division process. You do 2 into 5. Okay, that goes in. The closest you can get is 2. And then you multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. And then you subtract. Okay, so 5 minus 4 is 1, and then we bring down the next number, and now we've got 18. So you say, okay, 2 into 18 goes 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18. Subtract, and we bring down the next number. So now we have 2 into 4 goes 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract, we've got nothing left to bring down, so we've got our final answer. Okay, so that process is going to be the same for polynomials. You're going to multiply, subtract, bring down, multiply, subtract, bring down, and so on until you run out of terms. Okay, let's do one more. Let's remember what we do with remainders. If it doesn't go in perfectly, let's say we have 3 into 605. So 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6, and we subtract, and we bring down the next number. Okay, now 3 doesn't go into 0 or it goes in 0 times. Remember, we have to put that up at the top. And then when we do that, we can either bring down the next number or we can do like we did before, multiply, subtract, and then bring down the same number. Bring down the next number. It works out the same. Okay, so but you got to put that 0 there. If it doesn't go in, you have to put in that 0 before you bring down the next number. Okay, so now 3 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. And we're left with 2 and nothing left to bring down. Okay, so our remainder is 2. Okay, and if you remember what you can do with a remainder is you can make it a fraction by doing 2 over 3. You do your remainder over your divisor. Okay, so that's one way to write the answer. You could change it into decimals, or you could write remainder 2, or you can write it as 2/3. This is the form that we're going to use for polynomials. Okay, so you take your remainder and you put it make a fraction over your divisor. Okay, so now let's look at how this works with polynomials. So let's say that we've got x cubed minus 4x squared minus x plus 4, and we are going to divide by x plus 1. Okay, so we're going to set it up as a long division problem the same way. So we've got x plus 1 going into x cubed minus 4x squared minus x plus 4. Now when you set this up, you've got to make sure that you don't have any terms missing. Like if you were missing an x squared term or an x term, you'd have to worry about that. We'll do that in the next problem. We're not missing any terms in this one, so we can go ahead. All right, now for polynomials, you're always going to make the first term match. So let me put that over here. First term match. Okay, so in numbers, you get as close as you can, but in polynomials, you're always going to make the first term match. You don't worry about the next part, just worry about the first part. So to get from x to x cubed, I need to multiply by x squared. X squared times x gives me the x cubed that I need. Okay, I'm going to multiply here, so I get x cubed plus x squared. Okay, so first term always has to match. Then you subtract. Make sure that you subtract all of the terms. Okay, subtract all of them. You're going to change all of the signs. First term cancels out, which is what it has to do. I've got negative 4 and negative 1 would give me negative 5x squared. And then I bring down the next number. Okay, so again, multiply, subtract, bring down the next number. Okay, so now to get from x to negative 5x squared, so I'm going to have to multiply by a negative 5. And I'm going to have to multiply by an x. So I need to multiply by negative 5x. So now let me erase these. It's not cooperating. Come on now. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm going to erase those lines. Now I'm doing this. Negative 5x times x and negative 5x times 1. So I'm going to get negative 5x squared minus 5x And then we subtract. Don't forget to change all the signs. And then we subtract. So that's going to be plus. That's going to be plus. The first two terms cancel out, which is what we need. And I've got -1, +5. That gives me 4x. And I bring down the next number. So now I've got 4x plus 4. Solve this. Okay, so now to get the first terms to match, I need to multiply by 4. Okay, so multiply by 4, I'm going to get 4x plus 4. And then I subtract. Okay, everything cancels out. I'm left with 0, which is good because I've got nothing left to bring down. And so this is my final answer. X squared minus 5x plus 4 is my final answer. Okay, so the same process as it is with numbers. I didn't keep writing this. Okay, first term match, multiply, subtract. Okay, remember subtract means change all the signs, and then bring down the next number. Next number or next term. Hopefully you know what I mean. Okay, let's try another one. All right, let's say that we've got x cubed minus 8 divided by x minus 3. Okay, x cubed minus 8 divided by x minus 3. So we're going to have x minus 3 going into x cubed minus 8. Now, we've got a lot of terms missing here. We're missing the x squared term and the x term. We really need those here because when we do this, see how I had all my like terms matching up? My x squareds, my x's, and my numbers, they all lined up. All right, if I'm missing terms, they're not going to line up like that. So what we need to do is we need to put them in as 0 terms. So I'm going to have x cubed. I'm missing my x squared term, so I'm going to put that in as a 0. I'm missing the x term. I'm going to put that in as a 0. And then minus 8. Okay, so those are like placeholders. I've got to put them in to hold the place. Okay, now the rest of the process is the same. I need to get the first term to match, so I need to multiply by x squared. So I'm going to do x squared times x and get x cubed. X squared times -3. And then I subtract. Change the signs. First term cancels out. 0 plus 3 is 3. So I get 3x squared. I bring down the next term, which is 0x. I want to get the first terms to match again, so I need to multiply by a 3, and I need to multiply by an x. So I need to multiply by 3x. That's going to give me 3x squared. And then it's going to give me minus 9x. And then I subtract. Okay, don't forget to change those signs. It's going to mess it up if you don't. So the first term cancels out, which is what we want, and I'm left with 9x, and I bring down the next number, 9x minus 8. Okay, I get the first term to match. I'm going to need to multiply by 9 to get these to match. 9 times x would give me 9x. 9 times -3 would give me -27. And I subtract. Change all the signs. Okay, so this is going to leave me with a positive 19. I've got nothing left to bring down, so this is the remainder. And remember, I do remainder over divisor. So I get 19 over x minus 3. Okay, so that's going to be my final answer. This time we've got a fraction in our answer. It doesn't go in evenly. Okay, so that's what you do with a remainder. If you have a number left over, it's going to go over the divisor. Okay, let's try one more. Let's say that we've got x to the 4th plus 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 8 divided by x squared minus 2. Okay, so we're going to have x squared minus 2 going into this whole thing. Now, this one right here is not missing any terms. We've got 4, 3, 2, 1, and the number. But this one over here is missing an x term, so we need to put in that placeholder. So we're going to have x squared plus 0x minus 2. Okay, because we're missing that x term. We're going to put that in as a 0. And then this one, we're going to have x to the 4th plus 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 8. Okay, and so now we're going to divide. All right, x squared to x 4th, what do I need to do? I need to multiply by x squared. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by x squared. Now this time I'm going to have to multiply 3 times because I've got 3 terms, but the middle one's always going to be 0. So I'm going to have x squared times x is x to the 4th. X squared times 0 would be 0x cubed. And then x squared times negative 2 would be negative 2x squared. That's a 2. 2x squared. There we go. And then we subtract. Change all the signs. And now we can combine. So that cancels out. I've got 3 minus 0 is just 3x cubed. 2 plus 2 would be 4x squared. And we bring down the next number. Okay, so again, I need to get the first terms to match. I don't care about the rest of this, just the first ones. So I need to multiply by a 3, and I need to multiply by an x. So I'm going to multiply by 3x. I get 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. These I'm going to get 0. 3 times 0 is 0, so I get 0x squared. And then 3 times negative 2 would give me negative 6x. And I subtract. Okay, first terms cancel out. I'm left with 4x squared plus 0x. And I bring down the next number, minus 8. Okay, so again, just matching the first terms. How do I get from x squared to 4? I need to multiply by 4. Okay, so I multiply everything by 4. I get 4x squared. 4 times 0 is still 0. And 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And I subtract. Okay, cancels, 0, cancels. So I'm left with 0 overall, no remainder. And this is my final answer. Okay, so that's it for long division. You can do any polynomial divided by any polynomial with this method.